evening, and welcome to Creative Broadcasting, the station of unlimited possibilities. Presents Creating Your Seat at the Table with your host, Ashley Little, as she welcomes her guest to the table.
Welcome to Creating Your Seat at the Table. I am your host, Dr. Ashley Little. A little bit about myself: corporate executive by day, serial entrepreneur by night, CEO and founder of Ashley Little Enterprises, LLC, and founder and owner of Talk Radio and TV Network, LLC. Tonight, we have an amazing special VIP guest by the name of Jasmine Young. A little bit about her. Jasmine Young is the founder of Southern Tax Preparation and Services, LLC. Her mission is to spread financial literacy around the globe, one strategy at a time. Jasmine created the Financial Literacy University, a 100% online platform that delivers high-quality financial education and offers exceptional flexibility, accessibility, and affordability to any individual striving to better their lives and improve their financial health. The course ranges from budgeting, creating a tax strategy, how to run your LLC as an S Corp, and understanding how to do accounting in your own business. Welcome to the table, the amazing Jasmine Young.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys for having me.
You are welcome. So tell us more. I know our audience has heard your amazing bio. So tell us more about your journey, your entrepreneur journey.
Yeah, so I actually started my CPA firm 7 years ago this year, actually. I started it in the comforts of my two-bedroom apartment in Huntsville, Alabama. Started off doing taxes, and then, of course, to sit for the CPA exam, you had to have extra hours, so I went back to school, got my master's, and then I sat for the CPA exam in the state of Georgia, where I was actually able to put my first office. And so, 7 years ago today is when 7 years ago this year is when I actually started, and I just like to help other people, become more financially literate, build generational wealth, establish it if you haven't already, and then for those that have, actually to maintain it. I just want to be a resource for people to be able to do that. It's monumental for me because this year is actually the 100th anniversary of the first Black CPA ever. So so I'm very very passionate about what I do. Of course, CPAs do taxes, but more so I like to do, financial planning and estate planning and entrepreneurship. I love helping small businesses get off the ground running the right way, especially now during a time of the pandemic. It's very, very important because there's so many relief loans out there, like the PPP loan and the EIDL, and a lot of people are running into the situations to where they qualify because they're a business owner, but they don't have the documentation to back up the business. And that's where I come in. So I love helping get people on track with their finances, per se.
I love that. So let's go deeper into why are you so passionate about financial literacy? Where did that passion come from?
So I'll tell you a quick story about where this even started. Back in high school, I was one of three of my co-captains of the high school basketball team. And back then, I'm not sure how they do it now, but back then, if you were one of the captains, you actually got to choose the uniforms and everything that the team wore that year. So I'm sitting with the other two co-captains, and I was very impatient as a child. And I tossed one of them the catalog, and I said, you know what, I'm tired of looking through the catalog. Whatever you guys choose, that's fine. Just let me know, and I'll pay for it. And the comment that I got back was, well, everybody's not fed with a silver spoon like you, Jasmine. And it really frustrated me because I didn't think I was privileged or anything like that. My father was a trash man, and my mom was a seamstress at the local plant in town, so I didn't feel like I was getting anything that anybody else couldn't or shouldn't be getting. But one thing I did notice that I did get from my parents is an example. I watched my mom and dad work hard. Both of them came from poverty. My mom is one of 8. My dad is the baby of 17. They didn't have what my brother and I had growing up. So we literally watched them provide the financial stability for us that they didn't have growing up. whatever they didn't know about finances, I can vividly recall them sitting down with people and getting educated on what they didn't know, especially when it was time for us to buy the home that they currently live in now. I saw them sit down with people and ask, okay, how do we go about this? What do we do? How do we prepare? And then they held each other accountable for that as well. And on top of them holding each other accountable, they also held my brother and I accountable as well. So when we wanted things that we couldn't get right then, it wasn't a no, you can't have this. It was, well, you can't have this right now because we're trying to buy another home, or we're trying to purchase a family car. We're in need of a new car, so this is going to have to wait. They made us understand why they were making the decisions that they made as it relates to their finances. And I realized that that foundation that they were giving my brother and I, my peers around me weren't getting that foundation at home. So even though the foundation I was getting was the bare basics that anybody should get as it relates to finances, because my peers weren't getting that, it looked as if I was privileged or getting something that everybody else was not entitled to. And I made a promise that I was going to become a CPA and be the resource for my peers and their family members that they didn't have when I was growing up. To this day, there is no CPA firm in my county at home. So I am more than excited to be able to, honor my promise. I'm actually hiring my mom full time, and she's gonna run my location in Alabama come May 1st. So I'm proud to say that I kept my promise and that I'm doing exactly what I said I wanted to do, because it's much, to me, the mission of Southern Tax is much bigger than me. So that's how it all came about.
I love it. I love it. And thank you for just breaking those glass ceilings. Kudos to you and bringing your mom on. Those are amazing glass ceilings that you were breaking. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
I love it. And so you are the CEO and founder of Financial Literacy University. Let's talk more about your amazing online platform and the services that you offer and how people can get involved and get started.
Absolutely. So Financial Literacy University is another one of those ways for me to honor my promise, which is spreading financial literacy around the globe, being a resource for people to become more financially literate. It's actually a 100% online platform. It's like school. You can enroll and you can take courses on the different facets of financial literacy, like budgeting, credit, taxes, life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, estate planning, entrepreneurship. We have an entrepreneur corner where you can actually go in and learn how, if you're going to do your bookkeeping yourself, you can go in and learn how to do that. You can go in and learn about the language of accounting so you can understand your business's numbers, what they mean, and what you should be monitoring during the year in order to have a successful business from a financial standpoint. So you can actually go in and enroll as a student. There's 3 tiers of membership, a general student, a premier student, and then we have our entrepreneurial student, and each tier includes different perks. All of the tiers, you get unlimited access to all of the courses that are available, and that's with the general membership. And then when you get the premier student, you get access to the courses, but you also get our financial literacy planner. It's called a financial wellness planner, the ultimate guide to financial literacy. You get one of those planners every year. It includes a budget worksheet. It includes an insurance analysis. It includes expense trackers, so that you can really go through a checklist and say, okay, these are the facets of financial literacy that I'm struggling with, and this is what I should focus on. And then you have our entrepreneurial tier, which includes the financial literacy wellness planner, and access to all of the courses, but it also includes our entrepreneur planner called the Bottom Line. And it's basically the entrepreneur's planner. If you cannot afford a CPA or an accountant or a bookkeeper, this planner actually has, it teaches you, number one, how to start a business legally from the beginning. It helps you get your EIN number, get your LLC forms, and then it helps you keep up with your expenses and income throughout the year, so that if you complete this planner and use it how you're supposed to during the year, you can literally take this planner and hand it to your tax preparer at the end of the year, and they can use it to prepare your taxes. So the courses are very, very, very detailed. Like I said, it's 100% online, so it's self-paced. You can access anywhere you have a device, a computer, a phone, a tablet. You can access the courses. And membership ranges from $75 a month to $150 a month. Now, if you take that, a lot of people may say, "Oh, well, that's kind of expensive." But how much is your journey to financial literacy worth? How bad do you want to be generationally wealthy? So, and you spend $75 if you add up your fast food amounts and those trips to Starbucks in the morning on the way to work, you can come up with $75 easily. So it's very, very affordable. It's very, very hands-on. There's worksheets that are included in the courses that you can actually print off. There's checklists. And it even comes with an online community where you can discuss your journey to financial literacy with other students that are enrolled. So it's a very interactive community, and just a resource for those that are looking for a way to become financially literate and don't really have a plan or a roadmap per se to get there.
Awesome. So make sure you all definitely reach out to Jasmine if you're interested in joining Financial Literacy University. Now, let's talk about this. I want to go deeper into your industry because I don't think a lot of people, I think some people get it confused. So let's help them tonight with some knowledge. So what is the difference between CPA and a tax preparer?
Oh boy, I get this question a lot. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people don't know that CPAs, we are the equivalent to lawyers. We can actually represent you in tax court in the event that you are audited. A tax preparer cannot. Neither can an accountant or a bookkeeper. You have to have the designation of certified public accountant in order to practice in front of the U.S. tax court and the Securities Exchange Commission. So we're the equivalent of lawyers just with numbers. You can't get a regular tax preparer to do that. On top of that, tax preparers do exactly what their name says. They prepare taxes. Most of the people that we've come into contact with have never really sat down and had a conversation with their tax preparer about what does my tax position look like? What can I do to change it? What strategy should I implement to meet whatever my financial goal is, whether that's to minimize my tax liability or maximize my refund? Tax preparers usually don't give you a roadmap to get there. I'll use H&R Block, for example. A lot of people go to H&R Block to get their taxes done, or they use TurboTax online. And I always ask them, well, did somebody discuss this return with you? And they was like, oh, no, I just dropped my stuff off, and they called me back and told me it was ready, and I just went and paid. And people have no idea what's on their tax return. With being a CPA, we're able to provide you more insight as to why your tax position even is what it is in the first place. And then if you desire to change it, we can give you the strategy behind it in order to change it to whatever you desire it to be. So that's the difference between a CPA, a tax preparer, as well as accountants and bookkeepers. Bookkeepers do exactly what their name says. They keep the books, but they can't help you analyze the numbers and tell you what those numbers mean and what you should do to change those numbers to meet whatever your goal is. So CPAs are the strategists in the industry, whereas you have preparers and keepers of other things that do exactly what their name says. They prepare and they keep the books.
So what are some strategies you would give to listeners who are aspiring to become a CPA, that want to, take that journey? What are some strategies you would give those listeners give to those listeners?
The first thing I would say, and this is more so of a piece of advice more than a strategy, is no matter how hard it gets, keep going. You will get to the end. The CPA exam is a very, very hard exam. It is the equivalent of taking the bar. So it is very stressful. You will have to be disciplined. Make schedules. I actually recall when I was sitting for the CPA exam, I had a planner that was specifically for my study dates and my test dates for the exam. And for each section, there's 4 sections of the exam, I actually mapped out day by day what sections I was going to study. And I paced myself in a way that I had time to not only go over those sections, but also do a week review before I actually sat for the exam. So I would definitely say, you got to be disciplined. Plan out your study schedule. Another thing I would say is don't be so hard on yourself. I studied so hard, I made myself sick. I actually ended up having surgery in the midst of taking the exam. But the one thing I want people to realize is, you can't pass the exam if you're no longer here. So make sure that you take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically while you're taking the exam. It's okay to step away sometimes and get a breath of fresh air or take a break and not feel guilty for it. It's a very hard exam. It's going to take a bit of a toll on you. However, there are some things you can control, and that is your physical, your mental and emotional health. So I would definitely say, still keep up with your studying habits, but also don't let your health fail at the same time for the sake of the CPA designation. Another strategy I would say is get connected with other people that are, one, both taking the exam, and two, that have taken and passed the exam. Because you can learn from both sets of people. From the people that are taking the exam, you can see what their study habits are and see if those study habits can help you. And you can even start a little study group. From those that have passed the exam, you can also get study tips on how to actually study the information and how you should be retaining it. A lot of people think that the CPA exam is, you just memorized a lot of information. The CPA exam is not a memory-based test. It is an application-based test. So yes, we have multiple choice questions, but there are task-based simulations where they actually give you scenarios of examples of accounting issues that you actually have to figure out, and either you have to complete a balance sheet or you have to type up a letter for that specific case in order to pass that part of the exam. So don't memorize. You want to focus on application. Can you apply the principles that are being taught in the material versus can you memorize what this rule says or what that rule says? Specifically, I remember taking the regulation part, which is the taxation part of the exam, and there are lots of anybody that knows taxes knows there are a lot of tax rules, and the tax code changes yearly. What I would recommend to people that are sitting for the CPA exam is, yes, you do want to know those tax laws that are in the material, but you really, really want to focus on the exceptions. I recall taking the CPA exam, and they tested me not a lot on the law per se, but it was an exception to the law. Well, if this happens, then what should you do in this case? So that's a tip for somebody that's taking the regulation part of the exam. And I can't go too much into detail about the exam because we actually do have to sign a NDA about what's on the exam. So, that's what I would say. Connect with people that are taking the exam and people that have already passed it. And I think you'll be fine.
I love it. And so I know you touched on this a little bit earlier, but I want you to touch on it some more. The PPP and the EVL loan and how business owners, what you have found during this year, that, the pros and the cons of it first. And then why do you think people were unprepared? Like, the money is there, but they wasn't ready. Can you talk about that? Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I'll answer the second part of your question first because it is probably the most prominent issue we have seen since the pandemic hit. There are a lot of business owners out here, and a lot of business owners were birthed during the pandemic because they, were trying to make it through the pandemic. The biggest issue that we have seen, I know I've seen it in my firm, some of my mentors, other CPAs that I keep in contact with, the biggest issue we've seen is that while businesses were in business before February the 15th of 2020, which is the deadline in order for you to apply for the PPP loan, even though they were operating during that time, they either, one, had not filed their business on their taxes, or two, did not have accounting books. They could not tell me what their profit and loss was, or they couldn't provide a profit and loss so that you could submit it with your application. These loans are federal loans, and they do require supporting documentation in order to apply and be approved. I know you guys have probably heard of a couple of cases in Georgia and in Texas as well, from people being arrested and facing federal prison time for fraudulent applications. And the reason for that is people, even though they were in business, they did not have the appropriate documentation to support their applications. The first round of funding that came out, there weren't a lot of rules or a lot of controls in place to keep people from committing fraud. So a lot of people were able to get large amounts of PPP loans or large amounts of EIDL loans that they technically were not eligible for because the SBA did not have the controls in place in the application process to weed out those people. With the second round that came around, it's a little bit more streamlined, and there are controls in place to basically keep so many people from committing fraud. Now, are people still doing it? Absolutely. And what I mean by that is there are people that are actually, specifically sole proprietorships and independent contractors, they were made eligible for the PPP loan this second time around. And in order to apply as a sole proprietor or a independent contractor, you needed a Schedule C to show what your income was for the 2019 or the 2020 year, depending on which tax return you were using. And a lot of people are getting others to create fictitious Schedule Cs for them to submit with their applications. And they're getting approved. But what they fail to realize is the SBA is a federal agency, as well as the IRS. They talk to one another. The SBA has put, I want to say, over $2 million behind audit programs to audit these loans that have been funded. So what people don't realize is, even though you submitted a fictitious Schedule C that someone either created for you or you created on your own, they're going to come back and they're going to audit those loans. And if you do not have the support for that Schedule C that you submitted, and if you have used those funds fraudulently, and when I say fraudulently, I mean for expenses that were not covered by the PPP program, then you will be subject to jail time as well as fines. And that's basically the biggest issue that has come about with these loans, is the fact that people don't have the documentation to support the loan application. So that's the biggest thing. The PPP loan is basically fully determined by your gross income if you are an independent contractor or a sole proprietorship. And then if you aren't either one of those and you actually have employees, then it's based off your average monthly payroll cost. Whereas the EIDL loan was credit-based. It was not based on your business's performance. So that's the difference between the two. The EIDL loan is a loan that you have to repay, whereas the PPP loan is forgivable if you use it for the expenditures that are covered under the program. So that's the difference between the two. A lot of people kind of get the two mixed up, but the EIDL loan, you have to pay it back, whereas the PPP, you can be forgiven for that loan.
And thanks for shining light on both of those so people are more aware. And so what are your plans to help people who are not prepared, right? Or do you have a program that you're going to help people with? Or,
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
All these people who left all this money on the table to not
right.
miss this opportunity next time.
Right. So we actually have a program called the Family Tradition Program. And it's named that because no matter what business you have, no matter what industry it's in, the services included in the program are services that any business would need at the start of trade. So we have our business formation service. So if you haven't started your business yet, or if you started and you're just a sole proprietorship and you're looking for a more legal status, we actually file the paperwork, with your Secretary of State to get you formed as an LLC, a C Corp, or S Corp, or B Corp, whatever your desired formation is. We file your paperwork with the state. We get your EIN number. We draft you an operating agreement so that you can get a business bank account, because that's one of the requirements with the loan applications as well. If you're applying as a business, they want to see a business bank account, not an account with your personal name on it. as to separate funds from your personal and your business. So the business formation services included, and then we follow that up with bookkeeping services. This is the main issue that business owners have. They have no record of their operations. There's no profit and loss statement. They don't have a statement of cash flows to know whether their cash flow is positive or negative and why it's positive or negative. And then we have the income, the balance sheet, which shows you how much is your business worth, how many assets do you have, how much are those assets worth. This is the statement that's used to value your business, how much your business is worth. So the bookkeeping piece actually helps you to know what your business's numbers are. It helps you to determine what your business's baseline performance is. Because if you don't know in a series of 3 months, if you don't know what you're making from January to March, how can you say, well, next year I'm going to release a new product? Can you even afford to release a new product? What does the release of that product look like? Are there other expenses that come with that? You got research and development. What's that going to cost? How is that going to affect your baseline performance? And people don't know that because they don't have any bookkeeping procedures in place. So, of course, bookkeeping is included in the program. And then we also do quarterly estimated tax payment service, where we actually recommend to business owners what their quarterly estimated tax payment should be every quarter. And the reason we do that is because with you being a business owner, you no longer have someone remitting withholding tax or federal income tax on your behalf. So you're responsible for doing that on your own now. We actually help you to determine what that estimated tax payment should be so that you can do two things. One, so that you can avoid a huge tax liability come the end of the year. Because if you don't make those estimated taxes during the year, then when the end of the year does come, you're going to have a huge tax liability. And from what I've seen being in the industry is people don't set aside money for taxes. They spend it. So when a huge tax liability comes, they have no way of paying it. So the program actually helps you helps alleviate that problem. And then number two, it helps alleviate the problem of underpaying your taxes. So here's the thing about the IRS. Not only do they want you to pay your taxes during the year, but if you don't pay enough taxes during the year, they penalize you for that, and it's called an underpayment penalty. Our quarterly estimated tax payment service actually helps alleviate that penalty because we're making sure that you're paying enough taxes during the year, because we're looking at what was your liability last year, and then what have you made in the previous quarter, so that we can make an educated guess about what your estimated tax payment should be, so that you won't have that huge liability and so that you won't run into that penalty. We also do quarterly consultations for those enrolled in the program to sit down and discuss these financial statements and these numbers, to explain to business owners what these numbers even mean. Why should you care? And now that you know what they mean and why you should care, this is what you should be looking at to meet whatever your business goal is, whether that's to grow your business, whether you want to put another location somewhere, you want to launch a new product, or if you want to get rid of a segment or get rid of a product. We're helping you to look at the numbers to determine when and how you should do that. And then for those that are enrolled in the program, automatically we roll them over into our tax preparation service, because we've been working with you during the year. We know what income you've made. We know what deductions you are eligible for, because we were the ones doing your bookkeeping during the year. So the things that a tax preparer otherwise would not know about you, because you're literally going and dropping your information off to them one time a year, they haven't been working with you during the year to even ask you the questions necessary to see if you're eligible for something that may not have been in the forefront of their minds just by looking at your documentation. So because you're enrolled in this program with us, we already know what we should be looking for you, because we've been working with you and we've created that relationship with you during the year. And those are all of the services that are included in the program. And as you can see, it's more beneficial to work with a CPA, because we are the strategists, we are the relationship builders, whereas a tax preparer and a bookkeeper, you may not have that relationship with them because they're not providing you strategies and they're not working with you over the course of a year to be able to provide you that support that you need as it relates to growing your finances for your business.
I love that. So I hope our audience is writing down these amazing nuggets that Jasmine has shared with you all tonight. So definitely make sure you are writing these, nuggets down and being aware and knowledgeable of, the difference between a CP and a tax preparer, the difference between the PCP and the EDL. All these things are important. And just the importance of having a CPA. All these things are important that she shared tonight. And so I asked all of my guests this question, Jasmine. How did you create your seat at the table?
Oh, wow. How did I create my seat at the table? I saw a need and I set out to fulfill it. I saw the need for a resource in my community, and not just in my high school community and in my local community at home, but on a larger scale in the African American community. There's over 650,000 CPAs in the world. Only 5,000 are Black. I am even a minority in the industry. Less than 1% of us. I saw the need and I set out to fulfill it, and that's how I created my seat at the table.
I love it. That's what it's all about, building your own table, and that's what you have done.
Absolutely.
I love it. And so what did failure teach you on your journey? A lot of people see the end result, but they don't see the process. So what did failure teach you?
Wow. Yeah, the process, what it showed me is that this isn't about me. It's bigger than me. So the things that I go through that people don't see, it's all worth it because I'm able to touch. Sometimes I'm able to touch lives of people that I've never even met face to face. We have family members all over the world, and when I say family members, I'm talking about our clients because we don't have clients. We have family members, and we intentionally did that because we want to be able to create a relationship with the people that we come into contact with. So there are family members that we work with that I've never seen a day in my life, but we have that relationship. And I'm able to rejoice with them on their journey to financial literacy through the services and the products that we provide. So I realized that even though, yes, business is about making money. Yes, it is. However, I've learned in this journey that my gift will make room for me. It does not matter how much my service is worth or how much someone else is charging. I'm realizing that people come to me because they believe in me. They don't buy your services, they buy you. And when people can trust you, when people can vouch for the education that you have and the impact that you had on their lives, the people will come. So for those that are either just starting a business, and it doesn't have to be a CPA firm, it can be any business, put focus into your purpose, your passion, your mission, and actually connecting with people, because when you connect with people, people will connect with you. And whatever you're buying or selling, they will come because they will be attracted to you, your purpose, and your mission, and you will be successful. And I am a living witness of that.
I love that. Building relationships is key. Building relationships is worth more than currency. So I definitely agree
Absolutely.
with that. So what did success teach you? You're very successful.
Success taught me that it looks different for everybody. What may be successful to some people may not be successful to others. And then what you think isn't successful, I thought, 7 years in business, I didn't think that I was successful. I didn't think I, had done anything yet. But I will say this year has actually taught me to stop and smell the roses. I've done a lot of things in my short time in the industry and in my short life. I'll be 30 in August. That a lot of people older than me have not even done. So it's taught me that success looks different for everybody. And even if I feel like I'm not where I want to be in life yet, to my community, I'm a hero. And that's enough for me.
I love it. And so we are in the second quarter, just started the second quarter. So what can we expect from Jasmine the rest of 2021 in this new year and new decade?
Yes. So second quarter just started. We actually are having our first in-person event this year called Black Wall Street. It's a business expo where we're going to be hosting an exhibition for small businesses, whether you're in Atlanta or if you want to travel to come to the exhibition, you're more than welcome to. We're going to have a panel discussion where we're going to talk about the importance of the Black dollar and what does it mean to be interdependent or independent. We're going to talk about what business owners can do in order to be better business owners. We're going to have some celebrity guests there. In City Magazine is one of our sponsors that are going to be covering the event. We're going to have some refreshments there. There's going to be red carpet, interviews. It's going to be a huge event. And the purpose of the event is to actually highlight and pay homage to, of course, Black Wall Street. This year is the 100th anniversary of its existence. So we will be commemorating Black Wall Street, and on top of that, the event is going to be on Juneteenth, where we'll be paying homage to and celebrating the freedom of the last African American slaves in Galveston, Texas. So it's going to be a very, very memorable event. Juneteenth of this year, from 1 to 6 at 621 Atlanta. If anybody's interested in the event in any type of way, whether you're interested in being a sponsor, having a vendor booth, or volunteering, you can go to www.southerntaxprep.com/events. And of course, we will be spreading financial literacy around the globe, not only at the Black Wall Street Business Expo, but for the remaining of the year and the remaining of Southern Tax's existence.
I love it. Well, super congratulations on all the amazing things that you've done and getting ready to do on your event. So make sure you are registered for this amazing event. Jasmine, please let the listeners know how they can register and, support this event.
Absolutely. You can purchase tickets, submit your business for a vendor booth, become a sponsor, or become a volunteer by going to www.southerntaxprep, that's PREP/events, and you can purchase your tickets and sign up to attend the event right there. Everything is located on the site.
Awesome. So make sure you all support and get involved. Jasmine is amazing. Definitely somebody to know and connect with. So, Jasmine, please tell our listeners how they can follow you and support you on all social media platforms.
Absolutely. So you can follow me. My personal pages on Instagram and Twitter are Your Family CPA. That's YOUR Family CPA. You can also follow the firm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and LinkedIn at Southern Tax Prep, PREP.
So please make sure you follow and support her. Again, she is someone to know and connect with. So, Jasmine, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come to the table tonight, and I look forward to bringing you back to the table.
Thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed it, and I really appreciate the opportunity.
You are welcome, and congratulations in advance on all the great things that you are doing, and I cannot wait to see all the great things, more doors that God is going to open for you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
You are welcome. So I would like to give a special thanks to my intern, Sarah, who is a Tennessee State University alumni. And I would also like to give a special thanks to my intern, Vontaria, who is a student at Winston-Salem State University. You all may follow me on Facebook at Dr. Ashley Little and on Instagram at _Ashley A. Little. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Creating Your Seat at the Table, where Ashley speaks with corporate professionals, celebrities, entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers who are transitioning or have transitioned to entrepreneurship.